If you guys have never seen this before, how the spin episodes work is if you win 2 at a level, you move up in stakes. If you lose one, no. If you win 1 at a level, let's restart. If you don't know how this works, if you win 1 at a level, you move up in stakes. If you lose 2 at a level, you move down in stakes. And the hope is to get to the top of the ladder and win a game at the top of the ladder, which is the $500 spin level. Here's all the spins that are available, basically, right? So we find ourselves in the middle of the ladder right now at 10 bucks, and we've got to win our way up. It does get a little bit tougher at the top, like there's some special rules that make it harder, basically to ensure that I'm not like firing, $750 per episode on the spin challenge, right? It's hard to get there, but let's do it today. So this is our second chance at the $10. If we win this, we're up. If we lose, we're down to the 5, because last episode we lost to 10. Okay, so let's play one now. Let's get in there. Okay, in action, chat. We're playing for 20 bucks, okay. Not really the important part to me anyways. I mean, 20 bucks is nice, of course. We are trying to win money playing poker, but I want to get up higher in the ladder, That's the main thing. I'm going to limp in with the 4-3 suited here. This is something that we've talked about in previous spin episodes, and a lot of people have already clicked on this video on YouTube, as we are kind of, I don't know what I want to do here, actually. Maybe I'll fold. With the spin episodes, do we just showcase like the hype spins? Well, then it kind of defeats the point of the ladder, right? If you can't have negative variance, it's just like, how is it going to allow you to have good stuff as well, right? Like, it's not going to be exciting if we just play a bunch of spins and then we just edit to the best ones. So that's the thing. We're like trying to show the whole process, and this is the lowest we've been on the ladder in a while, but hopefully we can make our way up anyways. Let's raise it up with the 9-7 suited here. I like it, but we get shoved on by a Forest Worker, and we'll fold. I am going to go all in with King 5. My thinking here is that, like, I don't want to limp call a raise. I think it's going to show a profit just shoving a king here, trying to pick up the dead 45 chips, but it's like too weak to limp, It's like, I'd rather just take it down if possible. Ace deuce, not going to do that with ace deuce. We're just going to raise. 6-3 deuce, check back. Hey, what a turn. Now we want player to have something decent here now. Have ace 8 player, please. We'll bet. 75 sounds good. Come on, player. Get in there, player. All right. Take it down. We're just above starting stack. We're doing okay, though. This is fine. 15-30 blinds up in a minute and a half. 8-5 suited. Let's limp this in the small blind here. Raise to 75. We're not going to fold for this one. I mean, the raise is 2.5x now, and we have a slightly higher, not as connected. I mean, the 3-4 suited was connected. This one's a little bit higher, though, so I think it's okay to limp call, and we'll just fold on the flop where we completely miss. Continue with ace highs, a lot of king highs, any heart draw, any pair, of course, there. But, like, 8-5 is a big time, so we're going to miss. And we'll fold the 9-8 as well. Oh, we raise. Raise less than all in. I was just pouring myself a drink here to try and do some action. We get some from ace 10. Tell me we win this, dude. I'm not even sweating it. I just think we win. I think it's fun. There we go. 810. We are in the lead of the $10, trying to get back up to the 20s. Good start. We will limp call a raise with this king 6. But they check. 9-7-5. We'll start with the check here. 9 on the turn. I think check again. By betting, we're really trying to bluff like king 10, right? King jack, maybe. Like, I don't think ace highs are going to fold. I don't think a 9, a 7, or a 5 is going to fold. So it doesn't make so much sense for us to bluff. And we have the best hand sometimes is the thing in the side pot against Forest. Raise up the jack 10. Well, we can call that in a second. Let's just see. So that was king 6. Oh, that's us. 10-8, river to 10, and 3-5. Cool. Jack 10 against a7. Okay. That's off to a good start there. Dodge it. Printing. Let's go. Good day, Jamie. What's up, Tough Spot? How are you, man? Welcome. So I'm guessing we're going to just call a raise here, but they go for the limp, which usually this is what's going to happen, I think. 15 blinds deep, we're going to mostly be limping. We check the big blind. Flop is deuce 4-5. Start with a check call here. 2-1 in position. 2 broadways. Backdoor spades. 2 overcards. A lot going on here. Hopefully he goes check at the turn and we can bluff the river. But they go for a bet and we'll just fold. Okay. This is nice. I like this. Is it nice enough to want to raise call though? Probably not. So we'll check. What I'm worried about is obviously when we raise and they jam, we have to fold, right? So wouldn't we rather want to raise like king jack and then call off with the shove and then check back with a king 9 and then raise like king 3 where it's like we can raise and fold to be more comfortable, you know? What I think about in these spots, as we're going to check again, is kind of like a wave, right? I try and think about my range as a wave where it's like you have your best stuff, which you're raising, right? Your best stuff. You have the sort of stuff we will call here that can raise and call in all in, right? Your best stuff. And then you have your stuff that could raise but doesn't want to call in, and then you kind of play that slow, right? Because it's not great, you know? So that's stuff that you often check back or you don't re-raise, but it's like still really good. And then you have your average stuff that's just profitable to call, but you wouldn't want to raise it anyways, right? So it's like the high and the low, right, here. And then you have your stuff that's like not quite good enough to call, so you start raising it to sort of semi-bluff. And then it goes all the way back down to your really trash stuff that's not even good enough to bluff with because you're bluffing way too much, so you're just like folding it, you know? So it's like, it's kind of, in my mind, almost like 5 categories. Stuff that can raise and get it all in. Stuff that we could raise, but we don't want to in case they raise over the top, so we check. Stuff that isn't good enough to raise, but it's valuable enough to call, so we call. Stuff that isn't good enough to call, but we can raise as a bluff, so we raise. And then stuff that isn't even good enough to raise as a bluff because we've got too many bluffs, so we just fold. It's just like that. That's kind of how I think about a range, you know? That's very complicated, right? Like that is a word salad that just came out of my mouth, especially if you don't play poker. It's like, what the heck do you mean, right? But playing against good players is trying to figure out a way to construct all of those different sections. You know, being able to have enough good hands, all your good hands that want to raise and get it in, but then be able to have some bad hands that balance that out so it's like not super easy and predictable to play against you, and you can show the maximum profit. As we're ace king against 2s here. Rip, that sucks. We are now on the ropes. That's kind of like the game of these short stack, you know, prize pools, right? Especially spins where there's no ICM, it's winner take all, right? It's just like you play to a winner and that's it. So that's the complicated part. And that's, I think, the reason why, you know, full-time spin players, like, they do that, right? Like, they work on that. And then they work on the ability to exploit that. As ace queen against king 4 here. All right. Well, we just got unlucky in this one, you know? We lost a flip. We lost one where we were ahead, and we are now down to the $5 level. That's the game, right? Like, that's where the professionals and the full-time players, like, they are working on that sort of stuff. And as an amateur player, someone playing for fun, someone like me that, like, has some chops, but hasn't put in the time to developing all those different ranges and being really confident about it, like, you're just going to be a little bit sloppier than the people that are playing it all day, every day, you know? So that's the thing with spins, man. We're playing for $15 here. Same rules here. We win one, we move up in stakes. We lose two, we move down. We have fallen down the ladder. We are on quite a losing streak here. But that said, hey, it's just poker, so we'll just try and win anyways. Why not? We'll just try and win. What else can we do? You know, that wave analogy is kind of interesting, but it works in other spots in poker too, which I'm discovering all the time. Of, you know, like what sort of hands you want to shove with, for example. And sort of what the reaction is going to be, right? It works in those situations too, so it's really quite interesting, I think. I want to actually do some work on these spins and feel more confident and like I have some chops and work on some of those ranges, you know, put some time in, basically. Even though I'm a tournament player and it would probably be higher EV or like make more money for me to work on tournaments more exclusively. It just as a passion project, I'd like to do some more work on it. Raise to 40 and a call. I'm going to fold queen 5. It's just not very good, man. There's no antes here. It is a good price. It's not going to do well in a multi-way pot. I think for all those reasons, we just fold. Sevens. Okay. This is good. I'm going to raise call with sevens, you know? Like, I'm willing to go with this pre-flop. Jaime's smart, and that sounds complicated. Way easier to play without a fold button. I mean, the thing is, dude, you can know why you're doing some things, and that's helpful to make better decisions in other spots. But hey, you can also just make better decisions than good players because intuitively you just have the right thoughts. You might not know why you're doing something, but you can still do the right thing. You know what I mean? That's true. That's a true thing. So I think there's classically some pretty good examples. You know what I think back to? It's a Phil Hellmuth example, right? And if we go back to online poker, like 2012, 2011, the strategy back then was to steal almost all the time. You'd be stealing in all sorts of positions, right? Stealing a ton of hands. And the big blind would almost always fold. They would call like maybe 25% of hands, and that was it. Like people folded Jack 8 suited in the big blind. They're like, it sucks. It's whatever, you know? So the strategy was just raise and steal the blinds. And you would see a guy like Phil Hellmuth on TV. And Phil Hellmuth would always call the big blind, you know? Like he was just in there playing all these pots out of the big blind. And I remember online players used to be like, that's so bad, you know? Like, that hand's terrible. Like, just play tight aggressive and, like, you're printing, you know? And Phil Hellmuth was just like, no, like I'm just gonna see a flop with a speculative hand, right? And we were thinking like, oh, well that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you playing all these speculative hands? Like, just raise and steal the blinds and c-bet and 3-bet and like you print, you know? Play aggressively, not passively, was the thinking back then, right? And we were wrong. Like, we had a limited conception because we could prove the profitability of a c-bet, we could prove the profitability of a re-raise. But it was much more difficult to prove the profitability of going to a flop and playing post-flop because we didn't have the tools necessary to like showcase the work. So there was like a tool bias that was going on, and it still exists. To be fair, we call for 30 here, and so that's an example where Phil Hellmuth just intuitively knew that he should do this, and he didn't know like why. In the way that we know why now, right? He's just a great poker player with a ton of experience. So he knew like, oh yeah, I call in the big blind. I'm going to play a lot of pots. I'm going to play kind of passively, but like be involved in a bunch of pots. And it was right. And we were wrong, you know? So that's a good example. Like you don't have to be the super genius mathematician that can tell you XYZ theory and the nuts and bolts of it. If you're just good, you're just good. That's the thing. So yeah. Checks around here. Is there value to be had, or do we want to check? I think probably bet here is okay. I do think the provability bias is something that still taints us in a lot of ways today, right? Because we can open up a program like IC Miser, and we can see how profitable it is to shove XYZ hand in XYZ position. And that's great, but it doesn't necessarily tell us that that's the optimal line. And we haven't until recent times had good ways of figuring that out, you know? King 4 suited, we're going to go all in. Like, here's an example. We know this is a good shove, right? We know it's a profitable shove. But is it going to be more profitable to min raise, call this stack, and fold this stack? It's really hard to find that out, you know, as we suck out on ace 5, great. It's not an easy thing, at least to me. They limp call king 6. We have 8s. We're ahead. To get back to the $10, man. We're back to the $10, Chad. Okay. All right. We're back to the 10s. Want a little 15er there. We're break even on the session. Let's try and get up to the 20s for next episode, though. So, last one of the episode here. Lost the first one. We've got 2 shots at the 10s now. So, even if we lose this, we have one more shot. But ideally, we can just get it done in one, you know? Let's see. Okay, for 20. What's up, C-Week? Coming over from Facebook. Cheers, man. What's up? Thanks for tuning into the channel today. AlphaLan88 dropped the 2-month resub. I don't know if I said thanks for that, but thank you very much, man. Oh, we got a Barry Gold sub. Damn. Matty Ice with the 75 months. My brother, fellow streamer here on Twitch, same mother with the 75 months. Gets the love of the chat for the man, Matty Ice. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that, dude. What do you think? What are the odds against the BBZ today, Matty? 3.5x from Genga. Our hand's too good to fold, I think. Queen 9 is like pretty decent in position. And we are rewarded with a fantastico flop. They bet 140. I think I'm going to raise here, actually. I mean, we can't just call. The thing is, there's so much money in the pot. And there's a lot of scary cards on the turn that's going to get us less value, you know? Like, let's get it in against aces and kings and ace-queen and king-queen and club draws and 10x and like all of that, you know? Instead of we call and the turn's a 3 and then they check fold to some of their draws or whatever, right? They're all in. We're going to call with the jacks. Trying to induce some action here. We don't get it. But we are, looks like, heads up here with a pretty nice chip lead. We are. This would be a great finish to the episode, man. This gives me optimism. Maybe we can get back up to the 50s pretty soon, man. Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So like I was saying, I'm going to raise with the king 4 here. A limp call the button. They check. Ace king 8 here on the flop. We'll check back. Good turn. We have a pair of queens, which may be the best hand. We will check again. 9 on the river. We probably have the best hand. Sometimes they have a king that's better than us. I'm going to try and go for some thin value here. Get looked up by an 8, by a 9, by a worse queen. I think it's very likely they would have bet if they had an ace by now. Probably would have bet with a king on the river as well. So I think we have the best hand most of the time there. We limp jam if they raise with ace 9 offsuit. But they check. Deuce deuce 8 on the flop. Check. Overbet 260. The thing is as well, we block draws. I'm just going to fold. This is too tight in theory. You should not fold here for the sizing in theory, but this 9 of clubs blocks 9-10. It blocks the club draws. I think it's like, we'd rather have ace 3 without a club, you know, for sure. For sure is better than ace 9 there. Deuce 6 of spades. Check. Look at this, man. Look at this. I mean, I think just call, but it's like, I kind of want to raise too. We will check raise here. And hopefully we've won this thing. Let's see. Hell yeah. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Huge victory there. Okay, so I am thankful to report we are back up to the $20 level for next episode. Can we get back up into the stakes that I would like to play? I mean, for me, when I'm just firing one on break, $50 is like my spin level where I'm like, okay, let's play 50. So we're close to that, man. $20 level is where we start next episode. We get 2 chances to get up to the 50s. And, of course, the goal is to get to the 500s and win one and complete the ladder. So we'll see if we can do it.